In this lesson, I'm going to teach you a little piece of magic that has to do with indents. You'll notice that up on your ruler you have a left indent and you have a right indent. On the left indent there's an hourglass. You're going to find that the top of the hourglass controls the first line and the bottom of the hourglass controls the second and subsequent lines. For example, if I wanted to have a block indent, that is, a piece of text that needs to be set aside from the body of the document, I would simply select that piece and I would move the hourglasses to about the 1-inch mark. And the hourglass over here, the bottom of the hourglass, comes over to the 1-inch mark. So now you see that I have this nice block indent, which is important when you need to set aside information for a long quote or a piece of legal information. In addition, we have a hanging indent. These are used generally at the end of a long report where you need to credit your source. Typically on a hanging indent, the first line is flush left and the rest of it is in about 1/2 inch. So the top of the hourglass deals with the first line and we want that to be flush left. The bottom of the hourglass has to do with the rest of it, the second and subsequent lines. So if I'm going to move that in about 1/2 inch, then you can see the top of the hourglass is causing this first line to stay flush left and the second and subsequent lines to move over to the 1/2 inch mark. Occasionally we need a first line indent. Well, first line indent has to do with the first line. So we'll simply move the top of the hourglass over to the 1/2 inch mark. And now we have a first line indent. When we deal with bullets and numbers, most of the time we type out our information, select it, and then we just come up and we put numbers on it. However, if I wanted to have that first line, the numbered area, all the way over flush left, then I would simply move the top of the hourglass flush left, and then my second and subsequent lines would stay at about 1/2 inch. You might say, well, that's just a little bit too much room in between those. In that case, we would just go ahead and set a little tab right here. And then it lines up very nicely. Move that right there. Okay, there we go. I hope this lesson was helpful to you and that you now have more success when you're working with indents.